keep breathing. Because I know it's really difficult when you've got a cold or flu and you're all bunged up and you can't talk.
Yes, you can't
properly
breathe, but keep breathing.
You try to, and we say, those big belly breaths and you can't get the breath in and your chest feels congested and you're struggling to get it down to your belly and it doesn't feel very nice and your mouth's probably really dry. Breathe through it, work through it. The reason being is that this technique, when you apply it, and I'd do it a couple of times a day if I was sick, when you apply it, because it's shifting your body into that alkaline state, it's going to boost your immunity and it's going to fight off those bugs and bacteria. So instead of those bugs, bacteria and viruses all taking up house and making themselves comfortable,
or staying longer,
you're going to make your body inhospitable.
Welcome back to The Peaks Life with Lynn Fernie and Mike Warren. Little bite-sized chunks of wellness wisdom to power you through your day, or in the event of this particular question, if you're not feeling too good and you really need a bit of a lift. Because today we're going to have a little bit of a question that's been sent in. It's not dissimilar to a lot of questions we get. This one's from Fred Selden. So hi Fred. Fred's been a long time messenger. Fred was asking a lot of the things we advocate in wellness and specifically the breathing. He was asking about if you're sick, a flu, a cold, do you continue to do some of these wellness activities? And he was particularly asking about the breathing. So I thought it's a really good topic because a lot of people do get sick and say, what do I do? Do I stop? Is it exercise, keto? Do I stop? Or do I continue through? So Fred's question is around, do I keep breathing, my daily breathing routine, which he follows our program, when I get sick, or do I have a break?
Great question, Fred. And you're right. Lots of people ask the question, do I exercise?
Yes.
And then you get myths like, if it's above the neck, you can exercise, and if it's below the neck, you shouldn't exercise. And people say, well, what do I eat? And then you get the myths like, feed a cold and starve a fever.
Yes.
And then you get all sorts of other myths. And people say, if you're sick, you shouldn't go into the cold. So don't take a cold shower, don't take an ice bath.
Oh, myths.
People do get very confused about.
And it's important because
what to do.
everyone does get sick at different times, and it's important to know what to do. If you've got a wellness program and you're passionate about it, like a lot of you are, it's important to know what actions to take in the event that you do fall sick or something does happen.
And I think lots of the things that we advocate, whether it's eating, whether it's fasting, whether it's the cold exposure, many of the things that we talk about, what they do is they introduce a stress on the body. And so if you are sick, and we would say a lot of what we teach and we advocate means that you won't get sick, or you won't get sick very often, or maybe you won't get as sick as you would otherwise. And people are often using the techniques to fight off some fairly significant illnesses as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, and remember, everybody's an individual, everyone's unique. So many of the techniques that we are talking about, they do introduce a stress on the body. So if you're sick, your body's already working really, really hard, to fight off whatever it is that you've got.
Yes.
And so you do have to be a bit careful. So without giving a general guideline, because I don't think there is a one size fits all. Every illness is different. Every person is different. But think about, should you exercise? Because is exercise going to be stressful when you're fighting off a bug? Think about how you eat. You don't want to eat, revert back to old styles of eating and have carbohydrates and sugar, because that's probably going to fuel the bug and make you feel like shit.
Yes.
Whereas what you want to do is eat really clean and wholesome food. You want your chicken soup.
Absolutely. Grandma's chicken soup.
Grandma's chicken soup
Yes.
made with a beautiful chicken broth, and
Yes.
that'll boost your immunity. It really does work. So you want the right healthy whole foods. Fasting, I would lay off fasting when you're sick, because again, it's a stress on the body that you probably don't need, unless you are running a fever, and then you probably do want to fast. You don't want to have food in your system that your body has to work to digest. So everybody's illness is going to be different. And when it comes to food, fasting, exercise and ice, I think that there is an individual prescription, as it were, for each person and each illness. The one that's different, and which is why I love the question, is breathing.
Okay, so Fred's question was around breathing. So maybe take us a step back, because not everyone tuning in will be familiar with the type of breathing that we do at Peaks and the style of breathing and what it's designed to do. So maybe walk us through that first of all, so everyone's on the same page. And then what are the benefits of breathing specifically when it comes to sickness?
So the breathing that we're talking about is we do a very structured form of breathing which really introduces a lot of oxygen into the cells. So it oxygenates the body.
Yes.
And what it does is it really, it gives you a dose of adrenaline, a shot of adrenaline, and that shot of adrenaline is a small controlled stress on the body, and we're going to switch you between the stress response, the fight or flight response, and the rest and digest. And by introducing that little touch of stress in a really structured way, we're going to make the body stronger and more resilient.
Absolutely.
So the particular type of breathing that we do comes from a guy called Wim Hof, and Wim is a Dutchman who is known as the Iceman, and he came up with a technique which basically has three elements to it. It has a breathing component, it has a cold exposure component, and it has a commitment or a mindset component. And Wim advocates that by training the mind and the body and training it using that system, what you can do is you can really improve your resilience to stress, to cold, to illness, and you can get amazing mind-body connection and benefits.
Yes.
So we use it in our programs, we use it with everybody we work with to improve immunity, to boost the energy levels, to fight off bugs and bacteria and diseases, to improve the cardiovascular system, basically to get all-round fitness and health.
Energised for life. And we'd probably use it at least once a day.
We certainly use, and especially if we single out the breathing technique.
Yes.
The breathing that we use, it's basically what you do is 30 deep belly breaths where you're drawing in a lot of oxygen quite powerfully. So big, powerful breaths. You do 30 of those, and then you hold your breath on an out breath, basically for as long as you can, but around about 2 minutes.
And this is what we call retention, isn't it?
And that's the retention. You do 30 in and outs,
Yes.
and then you retain for 2 minutes. You hold your breath.
On the last out.
The last out breath, you hold your breath out, and then you do that probably about 3 cycles. You can do more, and there are different forms, but let's say 30 breaths with a 2-minute out breath for 3 rounds.
Yes.
And what that's going to do is that's going to, over the course of that breathing, which might take you, let's say 15 minutes, it's going to oxygenize the body because you're basically super saturating all of the cells in the body with oxygen. And what that does is it just shifts your body chemistry. So your body, we're always balancing acid and alkaline. And you might have heard it in articles and things. People talk about eating certain foods and you get more alkaline.
Absolutely, yeah.
And there's a lot of debate about whether that's really true. But setting that to one side, you can affect your body chemistry.
Yep.
And you can shift it, and we want to be ideally very neutral or just on the alkaline side of neutral. Acid conditions we know are bad for the body. They're the ones where cancer will thrive, where illness thrives. So if anything, if we're not neutral, we want to be just alkaline, and that will really help us fight off bugs and bacteria. So when we do this Wim Hof method and we do this structured breathing, the supersaturation of the cells with oxygen and then depleting the cells for 2 minutes, what it does is that little bit of stress and then that burst of adrenaline, it shifts the chemistry. So if we're sitting there and let's say we've just got up in a morning, and typically overnight we've processed all of our food, and especially if, as many of us are, we're meat eaters, and so we've probably ended up after the night of rest in just a slightly acid state. So our blood is marginally acid.
Yes.
And what the breathing will do is just shift it right across to slightly alkaline. So we've gone from that, acidic, potentially disease-promoting condition into a better condition to fight off bugs and bacteria. And also that's when we get all the energy. So we get that big burst of energy, great clarity of mind.
Absolutely.
So that's generally what it does. And it's amazing just for that boost of energy, the daily boost to the immune system, connect the mind and body and get control over the body. So in general, it's amazing.
So as just a regular wellness routine, the Wim Hof breathing or that style of breathing is a brilliant way to start the day, to energise the body and all the health benefits. So Fred's question was around, because Fred's a bit of a fan of the breathing. We know that Fred is a regular breather. So Fred's got a bug. And now his question is, what do I do? Do I keep breathing? Is it going to make it worse? Is it going to help it to make it better? What's the step? And probably if you draw on the experience we just recently had.
Well, let me talk generally first, because I want to answer Fred's question so really, really clearly.
Yes.
Let me add some value here. keep breathing. Because I know it's really difficult when you've got a cold or flu and you're all bunged up and you can't talk
you can't
properly.
breathe, but keep breathing.
You try to, and we say, those big belly breaths and you can't get the breath in and your chest feels congested and you're struggling to get it down to your belly and it doesn't feel very nice and your mouth's probably really dry. Breathe through it, work through it. The reason being is that this technique, when you apply it, and I'd do it a couple of times a day if I was sick, when you apply it, because it's shifting your body into that alkaline state, it's going to boost your immunity and it's going to fight off those bugs and bacteria. So instead of those bugs, bacteria and viruses all taking up house and making themselves comfortable,
or staying longer,
you're going to make your body inhospitable.
Yes.
So your body is going to become a place that they actually don't want to hang around. So they will go, you might find your symptoms are more intense,
but for a shorter period.
but a much shorter period of time.
Yes.
So yes, Fred, breathe, do extra breaths. So you might do rounds of 60 and do it more frequently. So I'd be doing it morning, lunch and evening, even before you go to sleep. Even though it does give you energy, it will also help to put you into a good sleep. If you've got that horrid, snotty, bunged up nose, clear your nose. So let me give the example.
Because we can, as people tuning in know, we travel a lot.
We do.
And one of the few environments we can't control is inside the aeroplane next to a dodgy customer or passenger.
And we all know that, so Mike and I would say we don't get sick.
We do not get sick.
We're a little bit proud of that. We don't get sick.
We just don't.
And that's because we've got an amazing lifestyle, very, very lucky, and we've created the right environment for excellent wellness. So, at 48 and 53,
so which one would be the...
Yeah, sure. Everybody knows what you are.
Oh, I'm 53, am I?
Before.
Oh, really? Wow, okay. It's news to me. Anyway.
So, at 48 and 53, we eat really well, we sleep well, we do our breathing every day, we do our cold exposure, we exercise, we're CrossFitters, so, we do intense exercise, we also work, we have busy lives, but very fulfilling lives. But in amongst all of that, and we're exposed to bugs and diseases, but we don't get sick. Every now and then, like the other week,
coming back from Indonesia, which is the home of many bugs.
We were sitting on a plane, and we all know that the air in planes is circulated, multiple times. So we're sitting there, and the guy sitting next to us started coughing and sneezing. And we really believe in mindset, mind control. So thinking to ourselves, we're not going to get sick, but 3 days back, and on it came, and we both started to get a bit of a sniffle, sore throat, and the sniffle turned into, the dripping nose, you couldn't breathe through the nose, all the usual symptoms of a nasty little cold. And so what we did is we did extra breathing.
Boost the breathing. So
we boosted the breathing. We did the breathing 3 times a day.
Yes.
In fact, 4 times one day.
Actually, yeah,
and
correct.
Typically, and I would say in the past, in the past life, colds would last 4 to 6 days.
Absolutely. And there'd be 1 or 2 days in there where you were debilitated. You'd either take some time off work or you'd be drugged up to your eyeballs.
That's it.
Yeah.
So what we did this time was did the breathing, and 36 hours later?
At the most, yes.
At the most, the cold was gone.
Yes, so there was, as you said earlier, there was short, intense symptoms. So the symptoms came on faster. They were fairly intense, but they were gone quickly.
And what it really feels like, and if I can sort of describe it to you, it really feels like your body's fighting it.
It does.
So what I would find is I was getting really hot. I was getting sort of like hot flashes
every
now and
rage,
then.
though.
Sure. But it literally was. I would just break out in a sweat as though my body was just like working super hard. Yeah. I was getting really hungry, again, like my body wanted extra fuel and extra energy. Yeah. And so I fed my body really well. I did my breathing. I didn't do the ice, so I laid off the ice. And, very, very quickly it would go. And the amazing thing was, every time we did the breathing, immediately after,
felt fantastic.
The snuffly nose had gone, could breathe clearly again, felt more energetic. So it allowed us to manage the symptoms for say 2, 3, 4 hours after
Yes.
we did the breathing,
Yeah.
and then it would start to come on again. So we'd do some breathing, we'd have something to eat, and as we said, 36 hours later, and it's gone. So
It is bizarre that typically in the past we would have grabbed for a cold and flu capsule or something to reduce the symptoms, but just a 5 or 10 minute breathing routine can energize the body and completely eradicate the symptoms quickly and give you another couple of hours of feeling good before you can do it again.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
And when you do that, the big thing when you're doing this, the breathing's one thing.
Yes.
But a lot of this is about the mind, because we're talking about the power of the mind, because we're tapping into things like the pineal gland, the endocrine system, the immune system. So we're going deep in the brain cell. So when you're doing the breathing technique, you really want to be getting that mind-body connection. So as I do it, I'm thinking to myself, I'm down in the brain stem, I'm getting into my immune system, I'm boosting my immune system, and I actually think about fighting the bug off.
Yes.
Literally think about having a bit of a boxing match with the bug,
Yes.
and getting rid of it, and thinking about it leaving my body. So it's really important to get that focus and really use the mind
Yes.
to do the extra bit of work. And you'll find that this breathing is unbelievable. It works wonders. And if you're fighting any kind of illness, disease, ill health, bug, bacteria, virus, use it.
Yes.
You can use it anytime, and it really does work. Try it, you'd be surprised.
So, firstly, thanks, Fred. Thanks for your questions. It's a great discussion point, very perfect timing as well. Secondly, if you have questions on the breathing method or the Peaks program, and especially if you're around the breathing, let us know. And thirdly, because it's a short podcast, good time to mention the couple of new things that are happening with the podcast upcoming. So maybe you want to talk about the expert series and a couple of the guests that are coming on.
Sure. So we've got lots of exciting things coming up for you. We've got lots of new topics, lots of new material, and in particular, we've got a group of experts and guests coming to talk to us. So I know you like the sound of our voices. You love hearing and seeing Mike and
Four
I.
things. Some of the feedback we get is, it's nice listening to you guys, but it'd be really good to hear from other people. I mean, that was hurtful, and I cried for days.
I'm sure you did. So we have got some really exciting people coming on. We've got chiropractors, we've got CrossFit coaches, we've got elite athletes, and we've got somebody pretty big in the carnivore world. I'm not going to say who it is, but stay tuned and you'll find
Clarence
out
the
very,
cow.
very soon.
And we'll see you next time on The Peaks Life.